This is not a crater on the moon. This is an IFO, identified flying object. A man, not Superman, jetting in a Bell Aerosystems rocket belt. This is a UFO, unidentified flying object, popularly called a flying saucer. To responsible scientists and photoanalysts, they are lenticular clouds, sundogs, planets, balloons, or mirages.
First of all, the objects are not unidentified. We know what they are. Second, in many cases, in most cases, they're not flying. And finally, in many cases, they are not even material objects.
A real flying saucer looks like this, an Avro car manufactured in Canada, being test flown in 1961. Or like this free-flying air-cushioned vehicle being flown by its inventor, Professor Paul Moeller, in 1965. But UFO sightings persist, and skeptics often become confirmed believers.
I've slowly come to the conclusion that there are such things as interplanetary spaceships. I'll have to stick my neck out and say that because I believe it at long last.
Well, first beginning, we were watching television, and we have 6 dogs here, and they started raising a fuss, in which they never do much. So I went outside and gave a yell at them, and as I turned around to come back on the porch, I looked north of me, and looked like a fallen star radar. It was red and kind of coming down, and on about a 45. And so then I watched it, and I was going to see if it landed, and then maybe go down and see what it was. And when it got to the top of the trees, it stopped, and a blue and a white light come on it. And I looked at it, and I thought I was seeing things.
No, it moved very rapidly at any speed, or rather any direction it wanted to go. Why it could change and go to the right or the left or go crossways without hesitating a bit.
What do you think it was?
Well, if they call it a flying saucer, that's what it is.
Well, when I was looking out the window with the binoculars, I guess it was about 12, I saw it, and I saw 2 red lights, and I saw it looked to be shaped like a pie. I could just see the front of it, and I just saw the round front, and I could see the lights on either side. And then the red light was sort of casting a glow over the whole thing, so it looked like a round disc.
At first, when I'd heard the other girls talk about it, I believed them, yet I couldn't really make myself comprehend it because I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. But then when I saw it, I just was fascinated. I wasn't afraid. I just wanted to stay there and keep my eyes glued to it. I couldn't leave.
I know I saw it, but, and I mean, I know myself I saw it, but I believe I saw it, but I can't fathom it because it seems so unreal.
I'd much rather be a live coward than a dead hero. And with the area of uncertainty that we have here, how do I know but what maybe there's a current, a little electrical charge which is being radiated by one of these vehicles which would electrocute you if you got within a certain area of it. There was no sound whatsoever. I could not hear a bit of sound.
We are being observed by some type of device which is ahead of us, far ahead of us, and is probably controlled by a highly advanced superior civilization. Now, this is a conclusion which I personally have stated and is shared by some members of our Board of Governors and advisors, not all of them. But it has reached to the point where many people in the Air Force have the same conclusion. In fact, the Air Force at one time had a top secret estimate that these things were interplanetary spaceships. So you will see that this, instead of being a subject for ridicule and a big joke, actually is a serious matter which could affect the lives of all of us.
My position now, I think, is that I believe that about 5% of these things are interplanetary. That is, they come to us from a world outside our planetary system, and that some of them are in fact inhabited by intelligent beings of some kind, and some look as if they're remotely controlled. After all, who really do we think we are? We're a fifth-rate, miserable, measly little system out on the edge of the Milky Way, fooling around the universe with 4,000 or 5,000 years of so-called civilization behind us. We think we are the cat's whiskers, and we are not. We're a potty, second-rate lot, fifth-rate lot, conceited as apes, not all of us. And here we go, and the moment anybody suggests that something should come in outside, from outside, we think, oh, no, it can't be that, it can't be that. It's quite out, you know, these things can't happen. And I think we're all, I do it myself, we're all thinking medievally.
What convinces you more than anything else?
The evidence of the men that have seen them, and primarily the behavior and descriptions of the objects themselves, which do not fit really any other explanation. And the Oldfield sighting, this thing which will become very famous, where a couple who live in a cottage outside Manchester took their first airline journey, and they had aboard a little film, a little cine camera, and they take pictures down the fields as a couple would the first time they've ever been in an airplane, and she takes what she thinks is an airplane coming up from behind them, and then it goes out of vision in about 12 seconds or thereabouts, and she goes on taking a few more bits of the distant clouds and puts it back. And when they get, what's this thing? I mean, it's inexplicable by any, unless it's a straight fake. And to fake an 8mm film in color wants a lot of equipment. And who on earth are this charming couple, what would they be doing, lending themselves to faking these things? It is nothing airborne we've ever seen. I mean, it is basically sausage-shaped with 2 dorsal and 2 ventral fins. And as you look at this film, it turns away on its vertical axis from you and disappears out that way. Well, I mean, you can argue until you're blue in the face. What is it except something that is airborne by a force, probably electrogravitic force of some kind that we know nothing whatever about? It is nothing conventional, it is nothing unconventional aerodynamically. There's no single piece of earth-borne equipment of any kind that can look and behave like that.
We're riding on an electrostatic magnetic ship right now on the Earth, doing 66,000 miles an hour right now in an orbit around the sun, and we're all astronauts in that respect.
Have you ever gone up close enough to touch one, to see what was inside?
Bill, in August the 24th of 1953, I went aboard one for about 20 minutes.
What was it like? What happened?
Well, the interior walls were what looked like mother-of-pearl plastic, like we put on toilet seats and for decoration. The light inside seemed to come from everywhere. The instrument panel wasn't like anything I'd ever seen before, and all of my years since 1927 in the air game. And they had a compartment in the wall which both cleans and deodorizes their clothes by some light process, which required no water, soap, or detergents, or a washing machine.
Giant rock, for the last 10 years, has been the Plymouth Rock of the saucer age. Saucer conventions were meeting here as far back as the pre-astronaut era of black and white television. But the contactee's storyline was the same, then as now.
Howard, would you tell us in your own words about your trip to Venus, how it started?
Well, as I say, it started first with a very decided tingling all over my body. The tingling finally extended to the mind area, and there was a clarification of mind such as it's hard to believe. I seem to become one with the entire universe.
Some of them have even been to our home. And the day that the one came into the yard, which I filmed on the camera, there were 3 inside the ship.